Alright, hello and welcome to another episode of Heroes of the Storm A to Z. Once again, as always, my name is Conman, and today we're gonna finish off the L's, and we're gonna take a look at Lunara, the ranged assassin Dryad from the World of Warcraft universe. So let's talk about Lunara. As you can see, she's on all fours. She doesn't have a mount. Her mount is just herself as she kind of leaps along. It can be a little interesting to get used to her movement style because of the way she hops. If you look at the character screen, as she hops, like, the move speed goes nuts. By default, though, if you look at the tooltip here, 20% movement speed as she moved. So you'll be faster than people on foot, but slower than people while mounted is really what the long and short of it is. You know, it does take some time to get used to her hopping around and the way she moves. Lunara has the potential to do very, just a lot of damage over time, a lot of sustained damage because of her trait. She can kind of overwhelm healers in that kind of situation. Like, this is one of those ones where Lunara is the kind of hero. Let's talk about the medic the other day. We're talking about how the medic has got a lot of single target, like very focused healing. This is the kind of hero that you might consider pitting up against the medic because she can damage a lot of heroes and just continually tick them down and force the medic to either, waste a lot of mana healing everyone back up or spread out where she's going to be healing. So something like that. So let's look at her trait. How does she do that? How does she, have that sustained damage? How does she spread out that damage so much? Let's take a look. It all revolves around her trait. Her trait, Nature's Toxin. Lunara's basic attacks and damaging abilities poison their target. Level 20 here deals 90 damage a second for 3 seconds. Each additional application will increase that duration by 3 up to a maximum of 9. So let's see how that looks. If I here attack this here friendly target dummy, you see it's got this little icon here. If I attack her twice, it's got 2, and if I attack it 3 times, it's 3. Each one of these things is 3 seconds. So you don't get extra damage per se, like the stacking doesn't go up in terms of the damage, but the duration that it lasts will increase. And this will just sit here and tick away. So imagine what you're going to want to do. I'm going to come up here and play with the minions. You can do some stuff like this, where you can just go, alright, here, hit you, hit you, hit you, hit you, hit you. Just hit every minion once. Now, I also would recommend not standing around and taking tower shots to the face, but just kind of going. You're going to want to do a little bit of stutter step action. My stutter stepping isn't the best. To avoid targets. Make yourself an easy target, I should say. Do something like that, and you do a lot of damage. You get pretty good wave clear with that. So how does Nature's Toxin synergize with her abilities? Well, let's take a look. So her Q ability, Noxious Blossom. After a half second, cause an area to explode with pollen, dealing damage. Looks like this. It will poison them. It counts basically as a Nature's Toxin stack. Very short. I'm gonna toggle cooldowns. Very short. Very small area of effect, but it's just a little extra something you can hit with. You can hit multiple people if they all happen to be grouped up for whatever reason. And then there's her W. Her W is Crippling Spores. Notice right now this is grayed out. I can't actually use it. Enemies currently afflicted by Nature's Toxin have its duration increased by 3 seconds, and they're slowed by 40 seconds, or 40% decaying over those 3 seconds. So this is where you can hit a hero, get them up, toggle Crippling Spores. Now they're slow. Now the duration is increased. You can do something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and then that's just going to tick down on all of the minions, and they'll go and get themselves killed. So this is going to be like this. This is going to be your bread and butter, so to speak. You can damage heroes with this. You hit Crippling Spores at the right time, they get slowed, and they're unable to either get out of the way of further applications from you, or even from your team to kind of finish them off. Her last ability is defensive, I guess. It's kind of visionist. It's Wisp. You summon a Wisp to a target location, and you just reveal the area. So I can move this over here. You can retarget it. There is a couple of seconds, as you see, between, retargets. This can be killed. The enemy team can come up and just pop this a couple of times and kill them. Then you know where they are, at least. But you can kill them. This is very useful for getting vision on objectives. You can throw this, into a boss pit and see if anyone's going to take boss. You can put this in a mercenary camp. Anywhere that you want to scout something. Maybe they have an Abathur. You want to know where he's hiding or something like that. You can kind of throw this into some bushes and kind of move it along and just try to get vision.
Let's go.
On the enemy team. I believe this lasts 45 seconds by default. This one's just about to expire. And there it goes. Now it goes away. Yeah, 45 seconds by default. 30-second cooldown if it is killed early. So if it lasts the duration, you'll have it up right away. Otherwise, you might have to wait a few seconds if it does get killed a little bit early. Got to be careful with this. It's very, I mean, this wisp is very, very squishy. So you'll just want to put it somewhere where you're going to get some vision, where you need that extra vision. Even if they kill it, at least you know they were there at that particular point in the day. So let's take a peek at some of her talents, some of her abilities, and her ults. We'll go straight through the ults.
Choose a talent.
All right, first one is Thornwood Vine. It's gonna look. You got 3 charges by default, 15-second charge cooldown. Send forth vines that deal 360 damage to all enemies in a line, and it's gonna poison them. It looks something like this. So that counts as a poison, and it's gonna keep ticking down. I mean, you could channel this a couple of times and do something like that, and then hit your crippling poison for a crap ton of damage. It's an AOE. It will hit everybody. So it gives you some range. It's a quick cooldown on this. It's just a quick little extra spike of damage that you can use to hit multiple people if they're all going to line up.
Choose a talent.
Alternatively, we've got Leaping Strike. So Leaping Strike, 2 charges, longer charge cooldown, 20 seconds. You leap over an enemy, you slow them by 80%. That's a pretty big deal. Only for less than a second, less than half a second actually, but you deal a big chunk of damage and it stores 2 charges. Looks something like this. So there are advantages and disadvantages of Leaping Strike. Leaping Strike can be great for just picking somebody off, doing a large amount of single target damage. You can build Lunara out to be a little bursty. When she gets the talents to kind of make her crippling spores go crazy, she can be very single target bursty if that's the way you build her out. It's not always the best way to do it, but it is possible to do so. In which case, Leaping Strike is really, really potent because it channels into that. You can use Leaping Strike a lot of times to avoid certain abilities, because you do get unstoppable at the top of this leap. So let's just say, for example, you've got a Chromie on the enemy team, and the Chromie turns around and hits you with Temporal Loop. All right, and you hear it ticking down. You're just about to get warped. You Leaping Strike. You become unstoppable. Like, see that unstoppable as I do this? That's that Leaping Strike, that Temporal Loop, completely negated. Like, you just don't even bother to do it. And then at this point, if you're leaping onto Chromie, you're probably going to kill her because you're up in her face. So anything like that can be pretty helpful. I think you might even be able to do it to like dodge a Pyroblast. I'm not entirely sure. You've got to be pretty tight on the timing. So the disadvantage, potentially the disadvantage, is it could put you in danger. Look at the strike. So if you're here, this is the frontline person you're about to leap onto. Let's say the enemy team is over here. You leap over, suddenly you're in the middle of everybody else. So this is something you might have 2 charges, you might be able to leap back, but this is something that you're going to want to consider using on solo people, people you catch out of position. I'm going to back up a little bit. People you catch out of position, stuff like that. It could be very effective. It could potentially put you in danger, so you've got to be careful. Thornwood Vine is something that you can kind of just throw out. You throw Thornwood Vine out, and then you back off again. Toggle your spores, and just kind of tick down on the enemy team. So it's hit or miss. It's going to depend on the composition, depends what kind of style that you want to play. Let's take a peek at the talents quickly, and then we will hop into a game. So first off, level 1, I like Natural Perspective. Nature's Toxin reveals enemies for its duration. It's going to look something like this. I mean, as long as you poison someone for whatever reason, they just sit there. Alright, so now I got 9 seconds on this thing. And if this hero can run away, can hurt, they can do whatever it's going to do, you're going to see where it is. Which means you'll be able to, your team will know where they are, maybe chase them down. Maybe if they like hide into a bush, you'll still have vision on them. You'll be able to continue to hit them. Very, very powerful, especially... This is very powerful, especially if you're against stealthers. So if you drop some poison on them and hit them with, say, crippling spores, now you've got a couple of seconds where they can't, they can't hide, they can't stealth and run away, and they are vulnerable in that situation. Alternatively, if you're going to go for like a crazy wave clear kind of deal, Cruel Spores, when crippling spores hits only minions or mercs, its cooldown is reduced by 80% and 20 mana is restored. The mana, I find, with Lunara isn't usually a problem, but having the cooldown come back is pretty great because there is a 10-second cooldown on this, so that is pretty helpful. Level 4, I like Nimble Wisp. Increase Wisp's movement speed by 100% and vision radius by 50. So look how fast that moves now. Look how much vision it gives. That's pretty strong. You know, it's, I don't know what the exact speed on this thing becomes. We'll move it over here. Look how fast that travels across the map. I mean, you're able to just, it's going to get blown up by the towers, but you're able to get vision across the map very, very quickly. You know, you can throw that in a bush somewhere, get vision on like a nearby boss camp without necessarily putting it in the boss camp. There it goes, and it gets blown up. So I like that one a lot. I think it makes a big difference in terms of your wisp use. And I think good wisp use is very underrated as Lunara. At level 7, so there's some interesting choices at level 7. So there's 2 that I think might be worth it. First one is Wild Vigor. Using Crippling Spores increases the damage of Lunara's next 4 basic attacks by 50%. So this is the route you take if you're gonna go like your single target spike damage, you know, your burst damage kind of build. Where I'll select it. I'll show what it looks like. So you go, okay, now you're doing your damage, fantastic. You hit Crippling Spores, boom, boom, boom. That's a lot of damage in a relatively short period of time. So that's something you consider if you just need one person that you need to take out, and absolutely they have to go. That's something that you might want to think about. Otherwise, we've got Splintered Spear. So using Noxious Blossom causes Lunara's next basic attack to hit up to 4 enemies, and all of these attacks will apply Nature's Toxin. So go something like that. Okay, so there we go, and I'm going to go over here. Actually, I think I messed it up. There we go. You see how I hit 4 people with that? Let's refresh. We'll wait till these minions come out. We'll kind of show you again.
Let's go.
Look at. You see that? You see, I'm not even hitting anybody with the Noxious Blossom, and look at all of those minions I lit up. So you could do that on minions for crazy wave clear. In a team fight, you throw Noxious Blossom down, you hit 4 heroes with it, you tag Crippling Spores, and that's where you go. That's where you get that AoE sustained damage. Now you've got Crippling Spores ticking on 4 heroes at once. Potentially now there are 4 heroes that are visible across the board for a couple of seconds. This is where you can get that sustained pressure on your healer if you don't have like that AoE heal. 10, again, it's kind of up to you. Thornwood Vine could be useful. I mean, if you're going that single target spike build, like Leaping Strike is what I would recommend, just to delete somebody, kind of speak. Thornwood Vine is probably the safer bet. It's you gotta kind of play it by ear. On a personal level, I really like Leaping Strike, but my biggest problem with Leaping Strike is that I take Leaping Strike, I kill whoever I'm targeting, and then I immediately get blown up because I've leaped myself out of position. So, something you gotta keep in mind when you're choosing your ultimate.
Choose a talent.
So at level 13, we got a couple of good choices here. First, we have Unfair Advantage. Nature's Toxin deals 50% more damage to heroes that are slowed. Okay, so first off, anybody on your team who's got a slow is going to trigger this. You know, like, she's going to channel, it's going to synergize really well with Arthas, for example, because anybody who's in Arthas' range is probably going to get the AoE on them, they're going to be slowed down, and you're going to do more damage. Your Nature's Toxin by default is going to do more damage when you toggle Crippling Spores. Now you're getting, look at the ticks on that. The ticks of the damage are going to go up. Now it's 135 rather than 90. That's a pretty significant difference. So, excuse me, now if you would combo that with Splintered Spear, now that you're doing that to 4 heroes at once potentially, or 4 targets at once, gives you great wave clear. Excuse me, first off, gives you great wave clear, gives you a lot of pressure AoE across multiple heroes. You know, Lunara is generally not somebody, for the most part, she's generally not somebody who's just going to spike somebody down very quickly. She tends to play a more, like, she tends to have just a crap ton of damage because she hits everything at once over time and just does a lot of pressure, sustained pressure, over the course of the abilities. Alternatively, we've got Giant Killer, straight up Giant Killer, basic attacks against enemy heroes, deal bonus damage, equal to 1.5 of the hero's maximum health. That kind of stands for itself. You know, if you've got a lot of high health heroes, maybe this is something that is potentially good. Spell Shield could be interesting. You know, we talked about Spell Shield in one of the other heroes. I forget which one now. Every 30 seconds, you gain 75 spell armor. You can toggle this on or off. You know, if you're up against high damage spellcasters, maybe it's something you consider. 16. We're going to go here. Here we go. We've got Starwood Spear. Using Crippling Spores increases Lunara's basic attack range for 6 seconds, so that could be pretty crazy. The alternative here is Invigorating Spores. Using crippling spores increases Lunara's attack speed by 50% for 6 seconds. So let's just, I'm going to reset here. Let's just assume we're going to go that single target spike build here. So we're going to go, we're going to attack damage, we're going to take leaping strike, we're going to go giant killer, and we do this. So you get the leap on somebody, you hit your crippling spears, your spores, and look at that, you just immediately spike them for lots of damage. I'm going to back off, I'm going to show that one more time. So basically, you leap on somebody, maybe you leap on them twice, you toggle crippling spores, and then you just get crazy attack damage. Maybe you leap on them again. Alright, so now you're doing bonus damage because of the... You toggled your crippling spear, your sport. I keep saying crippling spears. You get bonus damage because you toggle crippling spores. You get increased attack speed, which means you hit people more than once. You know, hit people much more quickly, and you followed it up with giant killer, so you're hitting them more quickly. And each hit is going to be 1.5 of their maximum health. So that's the so-called spike build, I guess, if you will, like the super burst damage that you can do with Lunara. It's not always expected. You really can melt somebody with that very, very quickly. The advantage of that is if they're squishy and you catch them in that combo, they're probably going to die. The disadvantage is if you don't catch them in that combo, you're left out completely out in the open and you're very, very vulnerable. So yeah, that, you know, if they get protected or healed up, like say like you got Rhaegar there, hits them with Ancestral, they get a Mediv Protect, they get some kind of shield, something going on so they don't get killed. Suddenly you're up in their face, you're possibly out of position. So that's the downside of that. So that's, you know, if you're going to go that route, you want to make sure you go that route when you don't have enemy heroes that are going to be able to stop your combo on you. Otherwise, Starwood Spear is very good because it increases your attack range for 6 seconds. So this is her attack range by default. Let's go just through. We'll pick whatever.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
And now her attack range is this. So that's just extra range. You're already kind of very elusive because you've got this, you know, the movement speed by yourself. So that is very, very solid. And then at 20, Force Wrath can be potentially good. It's going to increase her vision radius. You see, that's going to increase her vision radius. It's going to increase the range on it. That's a very solid one. You know, the damage doesn't really, you know, improve, but it's going to make it easier to hit people because it's got the range increase. Maybe you do more damage because you hit more people. Boundless Strike, you know, if you went Leaping Strike, you can target allies. That could be useful if you need to do this to get, you know, to get away, kind of like an Illidan Dodge or an Illidan Dive. I'm going to back up a little bit. I think this is the way to go in most cases, almost all cases. Galloping Gait, increase the movement speed bonus of Dryad Swiftness to 80% for 6 seconds. So watch this. We'll reset one more time. We're just going to go along. Okay, it doesn't matter. Galloping Gait. So this is you going along at your normal speed. All of a sudden you toggle this, and now you go crazy fast. This allows you to get around the map very quickly. There's only a 30-second cooldown on this. This allows you to get to places very quickly. You can absolutely use this ability to chase people down if they're getting away. It's a very powerful ability, especially on bigger maps. It's really, really good. So what do you gotta watch out for, Lunara? I always say Illidan. Illidan's one that you gotta watch out for. If he can evade and you can't land your Toxin, you're gonna be in trouble. Butcher can delete you. You know, you're very squishy. You're mobile. You're very mobile, so you're able to, you know, get away pretty quickly. The disadvantage is you're very, very squishy. If you get caught out, you will get destroyed. Outside of your natural speed, you have absolutely no escape abilities. So you know, being caught out of position is murder. Essentially, Butcher will eat you alive. Raynor you have to watch out for because he's got the increased range. He can push you away. You're gonna have a hard time getting him. Plus, he's got his self heal, so that you're gonna have a hard time with Raynor. Any hero that's going to be able to do just crazy high burst, you know, Li Ming is going to give you a problem because her spells have a longer range than your auto attacks, so you've got to get within her firing range in order to hit her, and she can kind of teleport out of the way, and her spells are going to do a crap ton of damage to you, so that's something you got to watch out for. Anything, the Novas, the Dryad tools, obviously the Stealthies, you know, kind of speaks for itself. Who are you going to combo well with? Anybody you can slow. Anybody you can slow, you can follow it up with Unfair Advantage, and you get extra damage. So, you know, Jaina is fantastic. I already talked about Arthas, that'd be great. You know, anybody who can stun and peel for you in ETC, a Johanna, anybody like that. You know, Uther's pretty good because he can stun people and you can keep them in range just long enough. So all of those are going to be pretty solid. She can do very well on maps like Spider Queen. Temple of the Spider Queen, you know, where you can have a lot of minions to go through, so you're pretty good with the wave clear. she tends to be a little, you know, troublesome on larger maps, just because she has some trouble getting places until level 20. You know, it's something, you know, if she gets picked off, she's got to come all the way, she's got to go all the way back from the Hall of Storms. So that is, that can be a little slow before she gets back into the fight. Something to look out for, if she's up against a team that has very good healing, she does a lot of sustain damage that they just top back off. So here we go. So we've got a Butcher, an Abathur, a Tracer, and a Tychus. Is that what that was? I didn't actually see on the right side. So let's see what we got. We're on Hanamura. That is a Tychus. The enemy team has got a Rag, Jaina, Zul'jin, Tassadar, and a Lunara. I always get these mirror matches. So what am I going to watch out for? Tassadar can shield through my damage. That's something I want to watch out for. Zul'jin can destroy me if I get in range. That's I got to be careful for. He can really do a number on me. He can hit me with the slow, and then his auto attacks will turn me alive. Jaina's slow is troublesome. Hopefully I can keep range in Ragnaros. Yeah. On our side, I mean, the Butcher could potentially, you know, chew through some of these pretty quickly. I'm not sure how Abathur's going to play out. I don't know who. I mean, Butcher's probably going to be his best target if he's going to hat anybody. Tracer can cause some havoc if she's dancing around pretty well. Should be an interesting matchup. Also, Hanamura is always a fun one. You never know what you're going to get when you get into that map. You know, Tychus does a solid damage. He doesn't have any. I mean, maybe I think Ragnaros is the highest health hero on the enemy team. So I mean, that would be. I don't know who he would be. I don't know who he would get a lot of value against with his bigger they are talent. I don't know. We also have the advantage, I think, in terms of account levels, if that's worth anything to you, just in terms of the experience. We're gonna see how it goes. I'm gonna start off with natural perspective. See how this works out. Our whole enemy team, our whole team is going to stay in the base, so that's a great start. Here we go. Butcher is going to move. Yes, that's right, Tracer. That is exactly right. So Matchmaker is a thing. I'm not going to bitch about the Matchmaker right now. I'm just going to play the game. But yeah, they do have significantly better shields than we do. I mean, Abathur can shield, but the Tash shields are better, I guess. Oh no. We're going to hop out here. Although if Abathur is going bottom, I might want to cycle up to the top, actually. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cycle up to the top. We're going to mute Tracer right away. I mean, we're 5 seconds into the game. We haven't even done anything, and they're already talking crap. And everyone cycles back down to the bottom, so good job, team. Whatever. I'm just going to stay top. They get Lunara up there. I'm going to play with Lunara. Maybe we can have Lunara off. Tracer goes down right away. So because I couldn't figure out what damn lane I wanted to go to, we did lose some experience there. But we also got killed twice right away. So that's great. That's a good start. Very good start. Alright. We're going to mute Abathur. So I'm of the opinion that I want to try and target a couple different things here. I'm of the opinion that you can win maps with just about any comp. You just have to play to the strengths and the weaknesses of them.
Growing strong. This was never
and if you start just crying about it from the get-go, yeah. That was a miss.
Taste my spear. Nature reclaims all.
Also, I don't even know where I'm going to put this right now.
Taste my spear.
Payload deployment beginning for both teams.
That's fine. I'm taking too much damage here. This Tracer is doing a, this Lunara is doing a better job than I am.
I hear the call of Kalimdor.
Abathur is in danger. Okay.
Payloads deployed. Escort your payload to its destination.
This was never
Gonna watch out. There you go. See, look, there, he hit me with the slow. He missed the slow. Excuse me. He missed me with the slow. Did hit me with the vulnerability. And look how fast my health goes down. Like, this is why I have to watch out for.
choose a talent. Intruders. Let's go.
Even the minions eat me alive. Like, I'm really just taking entirely too much damage. We're gonna get the turn in, it looks like.
Enemy payload firing. Payload firing upon enemy core.
Okay, so we got a 1-1 trade.
Seek the enemies.
They beat us by a handful of seconds. Nothing to worry about here. They're pushing bottom, though.
Don't let off.
Abathur is in a lot of trouble. He wisely backs off. We're going to lose this fort, and that's a problem for us. That'll put them at the advantage.
Thorn in your side. Nature reclaims all.
There we go. There's a kill on the Jaina. We'll just give them some extra damage.
Nature reclaims all. Taste my spear.
We're going to come back up to the top.
Payload deployment beginning for both teams.
They do have the level advantage, and that concerns me a little bit. We're trying to get some of this experience.
Call of Kalimdor. Taste my
I'm not sure what he's talking. I have everyone muted now, so it doesn't. I'm not sure what's going on.
growing strong.
Payloads deployed. Escort your payload to its destination.
Time for some reading.
I'm gonna hang out here because they're gonna have to bring the payload through this line. So let's just get this experience and then have to do it. It's 3-on-1. Tracer's with me, so 3-on-2.
I just love watching them wilt.
I really can't do much here, and that's the problem. Yep, that was a 4-on-2. Yeah, that's not. You don't. Tracer shouldn't have gone in there, but that's okay. Tried to contest, got caught out.
Nature reclaims all.
Enemy payload firing.
Choose a talent.
Payload firing upon enemy core.
Time for some weeding.
We're gonna use Splintered Spear. So again, 1-to-1, still 1-to-1. Our butcher goes down.
I just love watching them wilt. Taste my spear. Let's
Yeesh.
go.
We're gonna lose the fort. There it goes. Yep.
Fort. I hear the call of Hanamura. Taste my
Jaina's gonna get the shield, which is gonna help her. I couldn't push out any further without putting myself at risk.
Fine then. Time for some reading.
Oh. We will take some experience.
The enemy's payload will be redeployed shortly.
And I need to back off.
Your payload will be redeployed.
Like, we're just not grouping up. That Tychus up there is fighting a 2-on-1.
Where's the excitement? I just love watching them wilt.
The enemy's payload has been redeployed. Your payload has been redeployed.
So they have a 2-level lead, and we're gonna get ourselves killed.
The forest fights back.
I gotta back off. Yep.
wilds.
So they're pinging me, which probably means they're talking crap. That's fine.
Claims all.
Enemy
I think they're silly for walking into fights 2v1. That Jaina hopefully will go down. We'll get that last bit of... She might get to the healing fountain before... There we go. Okay, just enough. We had just enough poison on her that she got killed. And we still don't have 10 yet.
payload firing upon enemy core.
Choose a talent. The forest fights.
Symbiotic link established.
Thank you, Abathur. I appreciate that.
Fresh as a flower.
That took way more than I wanted it to take. But that's fine. We'll take the turret, and we'll go over here.
Redeployed shortly. Your payload will be redeployed shortly.
I will renew the
Enhanced.
Let's get to the root of this problem. I just love watching them win.
The enemy's payload has been redeployed. Your payload has been redeployed.
Time for some reading. Fine then. I just love watching them win.
Nope, I... Way too close there. That's my fault.
Suffer as the wildlands have suffered.
Oh, I'm gonna eat that. Oh, yeah, I did.
Took that one like a champ.
That was a good smash. That was a good smash. So this is your typical Hanamura game gone awry. Our team is underleveled. We're not soaking experience. Look at that. Look at that right there. We're underleveled. We're not soaking experience. We are engaging the enemy, just trying to stop, you know, like early stuff.
Payload fired.
I mean, that was there were 2v4 fights on
Strong.
when we were 2 levels down at level, and they were at level 10. I mean, that's just you're. All right, we're gonna mute Butcher. Like, I just don't have patience for it. These guys like are just throwing the game because they don't care, and they don't understand.
Let's get to the root of this problem. Nature reclaims all. A thorn in your side. I just love. Fine.
Nope.
That was
Did get killed by Lunara. Again, no reason to really engage on that one. We were overmanned, and by overmanned I mean we had. And look at the levels: 14 on 12. They had a talent tier advantage. So Abathur's up here, but look at Butcher. Butcher's way up here by himself. He's now probably going to get himself picked off.
Shortly.
Abathur is
I am
going to get himself killed. At this point, it's I don't know, what can you do?
Your payload will be redeployed shortly.
Abathur, here he goes. Abathur's dead.
The enemy's payload has been redeployed.
Yep, that is the funny.
nature reclaims talent. The forest fights back. Suffer as the wildlands have suffered.
I'm just trying to get some experience here at this point.
For the wild.
Your payload has been redeployed.
That was worth waiting for. Let's get to the root of this problem. Taste it. Oh, yeah!
There we go. Okay, 2 kills. I'm gonna back off for that.
Forest fights back. Take out this target. I will renew these lands.
Oh, I'm so dead. Yep.
Enemy payload 5.
We have to learn to pick ourselves up.
Avatar's gonna get himself killed again. I see what he's trying to do. Like, we're just throwing the game at this point. At this stage in the game, our team is just throwing. Like, that's just what's going on. Look at Butcher. Butcher doesn't even care.
My fight isn't over.
This isn't even a lost game. I just want to state for the record that this isn't even a lost game. And there's the boss, so that's game. Now it's a lost game, but it wasn't a lost game before.
Well, we tried our best.
MVP.
So let's talk about Lunara. Let's talk about that game. Yeah, absolutely, because you guys are awful. So why did I mute everyone to start with? First off, the game hasn't even started, and they're already like, well, this is awful. This is a terrible game. There have been so many games that I've played where the comps have been ridiculous, and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be tough, and we absolutely just steamroll through the enemy team, because you don't know how it's going to play out. What did we do wrong there, aside from everything? What did we do wrong? Let's look for a second. Look for a second. Just at that. So what did everybody, what did these 3 guys, I mean, even Avatar to an effect, but what did these 3 guys do? What did these 3 guys do? The payload spawns, everyone runs for the payload, they completely ignore the lane again, and then, even afterwards, so the enemy team turns the payload in, and we're sitting here, because of this experience deficit, you know, I got more experience than everyone on either side, because of that experience deficit, we end up down, I think at one point we're down 2 levels, and we're trying to contest a payload. We're down 2 levels. They have the ultimate, so it's 11 versus 9. Not just any 2 levels. It's a very, you know, meaningful level. And we're trying to contest a payload 2v4 when they have the ults and we don't. Like, there's no business in being there. At that point in the game, give them the payload. I mean, what would that have done? They would have gotten the shot off, and we would have knocked our core down to what, 5? It would have knocked our core down to 5, give them the payload, run off and pick up a merc camp or push a lane, you know, put some pressure on them somewhere else. What we needed to do at that stage in the game was, at the very minimum, was to get level 10 and get our heroics. And I see this just habitually. This is not the first time I've ranted about this. I see this habitually on Hanamura, where everyone will just, oh, we absolutely have to stop this. We have to stop this objective. No, you don't. You give it to him. Just give it to him. Especially if it's like the first or second cart in the game, and you're down that experience situation. Give it to him. Turn around, get some experience, push some merc camps. The enemy team actually did a good job. They got mercs of their own. Push a merc camp. Try to push in a fort, you know, instead of, okay, fine, you know, cede the objective to them, but then turn around and rush as 4 people down a lane and try to do structure damage and threaten to keep. That will, at the very least, at the bare minimum, it will cause the team to, you know, to react to that and have to, you know, cycle some of those people away from the cart, which means they're going to push it a little bit slower. But best case scenario there, absolute best case scenario in that situation, we turn around, we all go and push a fort in. Best case scenario is they get the payload, no problem, no issues there. We turn around and get the fort, and now we've got a shot. Now we've got an extra shot. Now when we turn around, and we probably have 10 at that point just from the experience from the buildings, and then when we turn around and push our payload in, now we're either ahead or evened up in the game. It boggles my mind every time. You know, these guys are like, well, this game is going to be over before it even started. Look, this was not a favorable comp. I'm not going to bullshit you there. But it was not a game that it was a winnable game. Absolutely winnable game. You know, Butcher went ham a couple of times. I imagine it. I have a sinking feeling if I didn't mute everyone in the beginning, I would have just reported them all for being dicks. But you know, that's I don't have patience for it. I don't. It's what it is. So that's Lunara. Let's talk about talents. I'm not gonna rant about it again. You've heard it. If you've listened to my videos, you've heard me rant about this a couple of times already. Let's talk about talents. All right. Also, when did I get killed? I died 3 times. One of them was because I was trying to help the team out in one of those undermanned fights, so that's stupid on me. One time they caught me. They just caught me. Like, I was out of position, and they just like, whoop, they cycled in on me pretty well, and that was a silly one. There was one more I forgot about, but, you know, it's what it was. Abathur got killed twice because he was trying to push the cart. Butcher just went ham. That's just Butcher. I think he just stopped caring. Tracer, I saw Tracer dive into a couple people like 1v4. Like, you're gonna get killed when you do that. Like, that's just what it is. That's pretty straightforward. Like, they weren't even, I don't know. I mean, they did a lot of structure damage. They pushed in as 4 people and 4 and 5 people on our building. And what did we do? We kind of like threw rocks at them, you know, 2v4. Whatever. Let's look at talents. Look at talents. Nature's level 1. Nature's Toxin reveals enemies for its duration. Nimble Wisp. Didn't even use my Wisp well enough. I really should have been Wisping more. Like that last boss, I should have had a Wisp there. I should have seen them taking the boss. I think I might have been dead. I don't even remember. Definitely should have used Wisp more than I did. That's always been my problem with Lunara, is that I don't do that. 7 Splintered Spear. Using Noxious Blossom causes Lunara's next basic attack to hit up to 4 imps. I would have, you know, as much fun as the burst build, like the spike damage build is, in this situation, we were going to be down, it would have gotten me killed. I would have maybe picked somebody off. You know, maybe I would have picked Jaina off. If I was lucky, I could have picked Zul'jin off before he Taz Dingoed, and then I would have just gotten exploded, you know. So I went, that being said, I went Splintered Spear. I also, at that point, realized we were down experience, and I wanted to try and get as many minions and get as much experience as we could. Thornwood Vine sends forth vines that deal damage. Straightforward, no question about that. 13 Unfair Advantage. Nature's Toxin deals 50% more damage to heroes that are slowed. You know, at that point, Giant Killer, I mean, these are more or less a bunch of squishies. Giant Killer is going to have a minimal effect, so I just went for Unfair Advantage. We don't even have anybody else that can slow. Maybe Abathur's Mines. We don't even have anyone else that can take advantage of that other than my own slow. You know, so that was of limited value, unfortunately. I don't know if Giant Killer would have gotten more use out of it. I wasn't getting a whole lot of basic attacks on people because we didn't have a front line to protect us, and that was part of the problem too. But yeah, so that's that. Had we gotten to 16, probably Starwood Spear. That would have been really good. You know, that would have been trying to keep Zul'jin out of range, trying to keep Lunara out of range. She went Giant Killer. I'm not sure how that worked out for her. Yeah, she went the spike build, which works out. The enemy Lunara went that spike build, which worked out for them because we didn't really have any counters. Like, we didn't have any stuns. You know, Butcher had her only stun. Had I gotten to 20, Galloping Gate would have been the way to go, just to kind of move up and down the map. It's a weird map, you know. I see why people don't like it. I don't think they just don't know how to play it well. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know. I like the map. I think it's interesting. I think it's different than your standard map, and therefore I kind of enjoy it. You know, also if I was Abathur on this map, you know, he went Mines. You know, if I was Abathur personally, knowing that they had a Tassadar, I would have gone more of a shield build. You know, which he didn't do. But you know, hey, it's whatever. This was not an easy. It was not going to be an easy comp to play against. I do feel like our team was just like F it and gave up way too soon. You know, like when you're basically calling GG before the game even started. Like, why are you playing it? Like, just why are you playing? You know, I understand. Like, I get salty. Like, I just ranted for 5 minutes. I get salty at times. But if you're, why did you even bother? Why do you play the game if you're gonna give up before the game starts? Like, what's the point? Like, I don't know. Anyhow. That's the game, so that's Lunara. That's a thing that happened, unfortunately. I think that polishes off the L's, and now we get to play with Malfurion. We get to some M's. You know, Medivh is going to be a fun one. I like Muradin, so we got a couple of good ones coming up. Murky is always hysterical. Chugging along at any rate. As always, my name is Conman. I appreciate you watching. Let me know if there's anything in particular. You got any questions, comments? Let me know anything that you want to see. I say that, the usual deal. I'll probably spam my Hanamura video over here again. feel free to share it out so maybe people will understand how the map actually works. At any rate, thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon.